You work hard, you try to save money, you try to move forward in life, but somehow it still feels like you're not moving ahead. Bills keep growing, life keeps getting more expensive, and the gap keeps increasing. And the strange part is, it's happening to millions of people at the same time. Because if hard work was enough, then most people would already be financially free. But in reality, there are people who work less and earn more, and people who work more but still struggle. So the question becomes very uncomfortable. What is actually deciding financial success?
And what if I told you this is not random? There is a hidden pattern behind it. A system working silently in the background that decides how money moves in the economy. And once you understand it, you start seeing everything differently.
But before we go deeper, you need to understand something important. There is a background system that most people never notice. It doesn't appear in schools. It doesn't appear in normal advice, but it controls how money flows. And the rich understand this system without even talking about it. And there is also one simple rule that separates wealth building from lifelong struggle. It sounds too simple, but it changes everything. Because once you understand this rule, you stop thinking like most people. And I warn you, once you see this, you can't unsee it again. Because it changes how you look at money, work, and even time itself. Let's break it down simply. Money in the economy doesn't stay still. It moves in cycles from people to businesses to banks to investors back into the system. But here's the key difference. Most people only participate in one direction of this flow, earning and spending. But the rich, they participate in multiple directions. They don't just earn money, they position money. And positioning changes everything. Because money that is positioned doesn't stay still, it grows. Wait, this is important. Most people miss this. Let that sink in. This is where the system starts to split. Not emotionally, but mathematically. Now think about it. If you earn money and spend it, you stay in the same cycle. But if you earn money and convert it into assets, you enter a different cycle. A cycle where money starts generating more money. And this is where the gap begins. Not in income, but in movement. Because wealth is not about how much you earn. It's about how your money behaves when you are not working. And here's something most people never realize. Time affects poor and rich differently. For some people, time is survival. For others, time is growth. Same 24 hours, completely different outcomes. And here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Most people think wealth is created by working harder, but if that were completely true, the hardest working people in society would always be the wealthiest. Yet that's not what we see, because wealth is not just a reward for effort. It's often a reward for ownership of assets, ownership of businesses, ownership of investments. And once you understand the difference between working for money and owning things that produce money, you begin to see why the financial outcomes of two people can become dramatically different over time. Not overnight, not in a year, but over decades. And that slow difference eventually becomes a massive gap. And now we reach the most important part, because everything we talked about so far leads to one final turning point. This is where everything changes, where understanding turns into advantage, and advantage turns into separation. And once that separation starts, it doesn't slow down, it compounds. And the real question now is not, why do the rich get richer? The real question is, do you understand the system well enough to change your position inside? Because once you do, nothing looks the same. You stop seeing money as something and start seeing it as something that moves. And maybe that's the biggest difference between those who stay stuck and those who move ahead. If this video gave you a new perspective, hit the like button. It helps more people discover content like this. And now I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest reason most people never get ahead financially? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy documentaries that break down money, wealth, investing, and the hidden systems shaping our lives, consider subscribing because we're just getting started.